Every year, new games are released and new esports scenes begin to emerge. And as this happens, some players just seem to naturally pick up these new games and instantly dominate. But how do they do it? How is it that highly skilled players like Shroud or other popular streamers or competitive players can seem to dominate in almost every game that they play? Well, it actually just comes down to how they learn the games. Most of us go through this very passive way of learning. We kind of pick up a new game, we watch maybe a few basic videos on how to play it, and then we just play it over and over again, hoping that we'll somehow just get really good really fast. But of course, this doesn't happen. But there's actually a far better way to learn new games, one that will allow you to improve your skills much easier and much more quickly so that you can become a master at many different games. So, if you want to dominate new games and become a multi-talented gamer or streamer, then you need to start by rethinking how you get good. To understand what it really takes to get good at a new game, we need to start thinking of it like 3 basic skills in an RPG. For example, in this RPG, you might have stats of strength, agility, and intelligence. Now, our goal for mastery in a new game is to really improve all 3 of these and not neglect any one of them. Now, the first stat here is one of strength, which can kind of be translated into your mental strength. If you want to learn a new game quickly, then a proper approach to improvement is vital. And without the right mindset, you'll find yourself struggling to improve no matter what you do. You'll constantly be in the state of low confidence, battling with anxiety under pressure and avoiding the necessary challenges of skill development. Now, in the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, we get an idea of the fixed versus growth mindset. While there are many aspects of mindset to work on, this is by far the most important. Now, the fixed mindset is centered around 3 things: your inability to change your situation, a self-defeating view on your skills and assuming that you really can't improve no matter what, and then deflecting blame and assuming that losses are never really your fault. But on the flip side, a growth mindset is really centered around proactively examining your games and looking for areas to improve, providing a more helpful perspective on your abilities and letting you judge your gameplay correctly, and then allowing you to remove the barriers of progress through hard work and dedication. So, developing a growth mindset is a critical first step to improving faster. And the first real step to this is realizing that no matter what, you can improve. You just have to find ways to do so. You need to find new information or new training tactics. While many people believe that they have a fixed ability, that mindset causes them to stop looking for new ways to improve and start blaming others for their losses. But if you commit to this forgiving and self-motivating way of talking to yourself, you'll slowly seek new ways to improve, and as a result, see much greater improvement. So really commit to being proactive about your improvements, embracing really difficult challenges and then extracting lessons out of them, even from the most painful of losses. Over time, as you practice this mindset, your mental strength will slowly improve, like a progress bar in an RPG. But this then brings us to focusing on the second of the 3 stats. And this one is kind of like your intelligence. But before we dive into this, I want to quickly mention the Esports Elite course. If you dream of the pro scene, or at the very least, you just want to reach a higher rank, then how you improve is quite critical. The Esports Elite course is a step-by-step system that's based in real scientific research and teaches you how to improve your gaming skills up to 2 times faster so that you can reach higher ranks and ideally get closer to the pro scene. Now, over 400 students have already taken this course and have seen some pretty amazing results from it. So if you're curious to check it out, then I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Now, as I mentioned, the second stat here is kind of like an intelligence stat, and we can really equate this to your game knowledge. Now, there are a few ways to work on our game knowledge and generally our game sense. but the most common way to learn everything is by really just studying the game and then applying it through real experience. And you need both of these. You need the studying and the experience. Now, the experience part is quite easy. You really just need to play the game over and over and kind of learn as you play. Do it enough and you will learn and understand all the basic rules of the game and generally what to do in standard situations. But a good approach to speeding up the game knowledge process is through mental representations. Now, in the research by Anders Ericsson, as well as his book Peak, we get an idea of what mental representations really are. Essentially, they're just a convenient way for our minds to remember important ideas. Everything from the macro game and timing to communication and team comps. For example, when we're memorizing the best team compositions, we kind of package them into these one-word or two-word statements. We have things like the dive comp, century, triple tank, and so on. For each of these, you'll understand not only what they are, but how to apply them and when to use them. Now, for communication, mental representations include the callouts that you use in specific areas of the map, which then allow you to kind of boil down complex descriptions of where things are into single phrases. And for understanding the macro game, you'll break down the game into various phases. You'll have the early game, mid game, and late game. And within each of them, you'll have various strategies and arrays of what kind of goals and things to think about. But ultimately, your mind likes to bundle information together and then compress it like folders on a computer. Doing so makes it easier for your mind to manage and store information. But when we learn the game through pure experience, it's like collecting a bunch of files and having them scattered around throughout your computer without having organized files to compress. But when we learn through studying the game, like a subject in school, we can suddenly recognize how to bundle and organize that information. Thus, learning mental representations for understanding the game and combining the details and complexities into these single chunks of information will make it much more manageable as you play, and will enhance your ability to memorize game knowledge and apply it in new games. So do this by first identifying what aspects of the game you need to study, and how you can start to break down your game into smaller chunks. But another primary key to enhancing your game knowledge faster is through the resistance method. Now, in the book, Thinking Fast and Slow, Kahneman mentions how one of the easiest things to learn are long-term aversions, basically habits that states, I'm not going to do this because I don't like it. For example, if you can't stand learning and practicing a specific character in your game, a specific matchup, or a certain strategy, you'll naturally avoid it and stick to what you do like. Now, unfortunately, over time, this just means that you'll master certain aspects of the game that you like to work on, but you'll leave massive gaps in your knowledge because of habits of not wanting to train or learn about specific things. Now, the author Robert Greene kind of counters this with an approach that he calls resistance practice. Basically, you identify something that you don't really want to learn about or don't enjoy practicing, and you set a rule where you have to focus on it for at least a day or two. For example, do you have a matchup or two that you really despise? If so, then find a good player or your least favorite matchup and practice against it repeatedly. Or if you've only played one role for a long time, then decide which position you like the least and dive into guides on how to practice it and get more comfortable with it. And these are just a few examples. When you start to pay more attention to what you naturally avoid or dislike in practice, you'll start to find areas that you're not so confident in, or areas where there's gaps in your knowledge. But embracing this lack of confidence and then creating a learning plan to fix it provide some of the greatest opportunities for you to improve. And this then brings us to the third and final aspect of game mastery, the agility stat. Now, the agility stats of a competitive gamer is the mechanics. These are the physical skills that you're going to need under pressure, such as quick movements, precise aim, or the execution of that hard-earned knowledge. Now, as with most things, the key is deliberate, consistent practice. The same as with improving your specific knowledge and learning about specific matchups, you want to condition your body to keep up with your mind. Now, the first step here is really just isolating and figuring out which mechanical skills you need to master in your game. Then discover ways to repeatedly practice them every day, kind of like doing reps in a gym. Now, to make that training even more effective, also consider the aspects outside the game that will either increase or decrease your improvement rates. For example, being in good condition physically and mentally is quite vital. For example, if you're playing because you're stressed out, you need to then manage that stress before you start playing, whether that means tackling the problem head on or doing some sort of breathing exercise to calm down your mind. In fact, research suggests that meditation can actually enhance our motor skill learning, not only by meditating before the learning, but even afterwards. For example, in one study, participants that meditated for 30 minutes after learning a new motor skill outperformed the control group with a 22.6% faster reaction speed, demonstrating a significant learning advantage. Now, another critical factor here is sleep. Tons of research shows how learning is really cemented into our brains during sleep. And when we cut our sleep short, we drastically reduce our ability to develop new memories and motor skills. So if you really want to improve your skills faster, then make sure that you're getting a lot of sleep and a good quality of sleep. If you want to see more information on sleep and the power of it for improving your skills, also check out our video on the subject. So, if you want to become a master at many games, to become just like Shroud and other famous players that dominate many scenes, then you need a more intelligent way of improving. Begin by getting your mindset right, focusing on the growth mindset and how you can reapply it repeatedly as you improve. Then work on your game knowledge, developing the mental representations needed to process more information at a time, while also seeking different areas of the game that you tend to avoid and really need to practice. And finally, work on your mechanical skills. Start by isolating the key aspects that will make your performance and precision even better, and then enhance that practice with strategic meditation and optimal sleep. Rapidly learning new games will become far easier as you apply these methods over and over again. And eventually, you'll begin to feel what it's like to be idolized by other players who can't seem to figure out how to get good at even one game, let alone many. But the difference between you and them won't be some genetic gift, but a method of improvement that allows you to work smarter rather than harder and quickly accumulate the abilities of top-tier players. I hope you guys loved this video. If you did, then you'll probably also love the Esports Elite course. I mentioned it earlier in this video, and basically, it's a deep dive into three main aspects that we mentioned in this video, both the mindset part of it, the game knowledge parts, as well as the mechanics. So if you want to figure out how to potentially improve up to 2 times faster, then check that out with the link in the description. Now, I'll also leave down there a link to our new bootcamp, which is basically teaching you how to become a pro gamer. It's essentially a 30-day workshop for you to learn exactly what it takes to become a pro, then takes you on the first steps to actually making it happen, so that you can end up training full-time, entering tournaments, and starting to turn your passion into a real career. So if you want to learn more about how to become a pro gamer and look into potentially signing up for the bootcamp, then you can also check out the link below. But of course, if you stuck around this far into the video, I just want to say thank you. Your support means a ton to me. I love making these videos, and every view, every like, every comment, all of it really goes a long way for motivating me to help others and continue making these videos. So if you want, you can support the video in any way that you can. You can drop a comment, a like, you can share it with your friends if you want. Or if you just want to keep watching similar videos, then go ahead and binge watch everything we have on the channel. We have tons of free guides that you can see. But nonetheless, I hope you keep on grinding, keep on improving, and I'll see you all in the next video.